Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome back, friends, old and new, to the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. Plate tracks and road courses and your favorite NASCAR vehicles. We're here at the virtual Daytona International Speedway for round 1 of the series. I'm your host, James East, with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action in 1080p, 60 frames a second for the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. Looking forward to this one. A lot of familiar names and faces I've seen out on track here before, and different broadcasts on the Team Goon Squad network. So going to be very, very excited to see what they can do here today. It looks like, call it 24 drivers have made their way out for the season debut, and a very unique season here for the iRacing League. I've never seen in all of my broadcasts, and there's got to be thousands at this point, a series that combines plate tracks, so wide open super speedways, Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta Motor Speedway. Daytona comes up later in the series, but also road courses. They've got the Canadian Circuit. They've got Oran Park, Sebring International, Suzuka. Interlagos is on the schedule here, so a very, very unique and fun format out on track here today. Let us know in the spectator area on YouTube where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have their broadcast pulled up on a separate device or monitor, and if not, they just about always go back and watch this thing over. It looks like we just saw the checkered flag was out here for qualifying, and we're going to put them straight onto the grid. A unique format here today as well. A 60-minute qualifying session for these drivers instead of the usual 30-40 minute practice followed by a 5 to 10 minute quali session. So another little bit of unique feature here. There's Barney, our flagman, throwing the checkered, waiting for the rest of the drivers to get off course and make their way down pit road to get things fired up here today. Now, for those that are maybe checking out this series, hearing my notes and going, hey, how do I get in on this action? There's a Discord link in the description here on YouTube, and you can join the action. I want to say it's just about every Thursday night. Look at the schedule. Yeah, it looks like every Thursday night with maybe some off weeks for holidays. So hit the link, join the Discord, and you too can get in on the action. I want to say there's no entry fee here as well, so definitely worth checking out for the fans at home. We've got Dylan Meyer in the spectator area, as well as John DeTalent. Good to see all those guys back out joining us once more. And it looks like we are starting to get drivers lined up here at Daytona International Speedway. Starting on pole, it's Steve Loving in the number 27. Michael Gudger starting second. Dustin Bally starts third. Evan Hoopchak starting fourth. Michael McCoy starting fifth. Brandon Brush starting 6th, Devin Jack starting 7th, Tom Wendt starting 8th, Mark Royce starting 9th, Brian Thomas starting 10th, Jay Bass starting 11th, Dan Ott starting 12th, cycled on back, Chuck Labano starting 13th, Sam Stoner starts 14th, Phil Keck starting 15th, Christopher Barker starting 16th, Tyler DeTalent starting 17th, Stephen Shue starts 18th, Chris Winslow starting 19th, Blake Hoppy starting 20th, Laura Wiseman starting 21st. Mike Thompson Jr. starts 22nd. Faison Sheik starting 23rd. And Abraham Kalufa, if I hope I said that right, will round out the 24-car grid here today. Brandy McCoy joined us in the spectator area as well, cheering on Mike. I believe, yeah, it's a safe bet. That's going to be Michael McCoy in the number 33 machine. using my broadcaster process of elimination here up in the booth. We've got 60 laps on the schedule here today. Let's take a peek and see what fuel allotment. 100% fuel allotment. So I believe that is going to be a one scheduled stop race as far as fuel goes. Maybe the drivers can give me a bit of correction there if I'm amiss in what I remember from running these trucks at Daytona. Been a little while. I do more broadcasting up here than I do driving on this service, so sometimes the data is just a little bit out of date up here. I've got to say, for a new series, 24 drivers coming out. Very, very impressive to see. And we'll be following along with your favorite drivers throughout today's broadcast. Tyler to Talent, let me know a 33-lap run. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I've still got it after all. We have one green-white checkered attempt here today, basically overtime conditions. And one fast repair available to these drivers. Basically a get-out-of-jail-free card. If it's your first time joining us for one of our virtual shows, drivers have in their back pocket what is called a fast repair. Basically that means if you're involved in an on-track incident that leaves that truck maybe askew, maybe a little beat up, you can come down pit road, hit the magic button, and get back out on track with effectively a new race truck. Now drivers only have one of those, so they have to be very, very careful not to use it too early into a main event. It's 60 laps, and you've got to be here on the final lap to have a chance of bringing home the glory. And I am glad it's a 33-lap run out of these drivers. That could allow us to see some different fuel strategy and pit strategies here tonight at Daytona as well. Some drivers might come in a little bit early, around lap 27. Some guys might stretch it out all the way to the 33rd lap. And then you can see different packs of drivers coming down pit road together and trying to work together, form some alliances as they go. Now that is if, and it's always an if at super speedways, if we go green flag. If we have a caution, especially around lap 26 or so, I would imagine the entire field will come down pit road together, but that is going to be in the driver's hands here tonight. Still waiting on a few drivers to make their way out into the grid. Dustin Bally, league admin, we're waiting on him. Michael McCoy, Brandon Brush, Devin Jack. Waiting on Sam Stoner, Phil Keck. So once those 5 drivers are on the grid here. And Tyler to Talent, got to give that guy a thumbs up. He's bringing the fans out here today. He's got John to Talent, Nate Cobb, Garrett Cadwallader? I know I butchered that one, so I'm sorry, Garrett. Cadwallader. I'm going to commit to that one and say that's it. But if all else fails, I'm going to say Garrett was cheering on Tyler to Talent. And that number 32 machine to Talent starting 17th on the grid. And that raises another good point. Some drivers are going to get out there, go right to the front as quick as they can, while other drivers are going to kind of play it safe, take it easy, and then try and make big moves in the back half of the race. So it's going to be very interesting for fans and broadcaster alike to kind of see what the strategy is going to be for these guys. So we're waiting now. I believe it's going to be Devin Jack, that 49 Ford F-150. Sam Stoner, the number 65 Ford F-150. Will be the 2 drivers not yet onto the grid. I will say this might be one of the longest grid procedures I think I've ever seen. I think Sam Stoner is going to have to start from pit road here. Yes, Stoner number 65 machine not able to make the grid. We got Dylan Meyer, just Dylan, join us in the spectator area. He's interested in getting in on the action. Always appreciate Dylan showing up for all of our exciting shows. And it looks like everybody's out on track except for Stoner, who missed the start here. Hopefully he can get that machine fired up and start from pit road. Thank you to John DeTalent for his always kind words as well here. Great seeing so many familiar racers and fans coming back to the broadcast. I haven't been able to see a lot of these guys in quite a hot minute since we broadcasted another series that featured a lot of these drivers. So really cool for me as a broadcaster to see such great racers, great fans, just supporting the guys and everything they're running. So thank you guys so much already for making this. It's going to be a great show, hands down. So we're going to get them stacked up here. 23 drivers out on track. 2 abreast. And just about 12 rows here. That's Loving and Gudger on your front row. Bali and Hoopchak your second row. McCoy and Jack will make up the third row. Play Roth, hoping everybody has a good time out on track. We're about to find out. The safety car comes down pit road for the first time this season for the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. And we are green flag racing. There's Barney, our flagman, vigorously throwing the green. And we're going to watch Gudger and Loving battling side by side through turn 1. And the field is going to try and get themselves sorted out here. Gudger Loving side by side up front. Hoopchak and Bali tucked in right behind. Now this is what we were talking about. Some drivers are going to kind of play it safe and just stay in the draft and see how this develops. Other drivers, maybe Gudger in that 64 is going to try and go straight to the front. But it's going to be Steve Loving, that number 27 machine, guard of the inside line. There's Dustin Bali, the number 24 machine. Looks like briefly Michael McCoy was up 3 spots, but it's going to be Bali showing as the race leader here. Almost a full 1/10 of a second. Bali rocking the outside line. He's getting pushed. I think that's the 27 of Loving there, and the Toyota up on the high side. No, that's Michael Gudger, the 64 running up high. Giving a big, strong shove to that number 24 machine, trying to get him further out front. That's Loving on the inside line, and there goes Bali hopping down the inside line. That's just ahead of Steve Loving's 27 machine, leaving Michael Gudger up on the high side in the 33. Does he go back? Looks like he is, so Loving's going to take over the race lead here. Number 27 crossing the line. It shows Loving, McCoy, Bali 1, 2, 3, but man, this is way too tight to really call a strong and set leader here. Loving and Bali side by side around the high banks of Daytona. A few hard charges out on track so far. Bali, Bast are both up 2 spots. And we unfortunately heard that Sam Stoner was not able to get back out on track and start this race. We were hoping to see him starting from pit road and kind of rejoining the party here. Gonna see if I can get a camera angle queued up. Yes, I can. You're on board Michael Gudger in the 64 machine. That looks like, yes, that's Dustin Bali, the Toyota, just ahead. I'm waiting to see if we see some bump draft shenanigans here. But it looks like Gudger gonna go down low, looking for the race lead here. That's gonna be Michael Gudger, Steve Loving, and the 33 of Michael McCoy linking up on the inside line. Up high, that's Bali. I believe Devin Jack and Evan Hoopchak ripping the high side. Gudger pretty much running that LSU painted truck in every series he runs. I've asked him before in previous series, hey, are you a huge LSU fan? And we were told, no, I just really like the colors. So Gudger in the purple and yellow 64, sticking to tradition. There's Steve Loving back up front. And it looks like, yeah, that's going to be Loving drops down low, leaving Dustin Bali up high, the number 24. The number 7 of Hoopchak tucking in behind as well. A lot of newcomers here I haven't had the pleasure of calling, so makes it a little bit interesting for me in the broadcast booth. When you call the same amount of drivers week in and week out over the course of years, you kind of get used to what they're going to do, get an idea of what's behind the helmet and what their mindset is. But we're going to go 3 wide here as Bali appears to be bailing out of it. Evan Hoopchak, he's now down 4 spots as well. We are briefly 3 wide, and we've got Heartbreak. Trying to see who that was. There's Sheik off the inside line in the number 15 machine. I know Bali was involved in that. But try and get a replay queued up here for the fans so we can see just what happened. Let's get that replay queued up. So there's Bali starting to bail out of it here, the number 24 machine. I was trying to see who maybe crossed his nose. Starts off down low and really didn't involve Bali at all, I don't think. Try and get a nice tight angle here. And this is where the field scatters across. So that was the 346 machine who got a little bit of help into Steve Balling. And that's going to give a large portion of the field, about the top 11 drivers, a pretty healthy breakaway. Chris Winslow in 12th, about 3 seconds behind this draft pack. And then further back, Tyler DeTalent running 14th, has the second pack with him. Let's pan to DeTalent. That is a lot of drivers behind him there. Now it's going to be interesting to see how much damage Dustin Bali might have here if he needs to come down pit road and try and get that machine fixed up a little bit. Because out front, it's Loving, Gudger, McCoy, 1, 2, 3. Mark Royce, Devin Jack battling just inside that top 5 position. Now we're expecting the fuel window to open on lap 27, close on lap 33 for these drivers. If we can make it to a green flag stop, we got dangerously close just a couple of laps prior to seeing that yellow flag come out and slowing down the race pace here. Now it looks like Dustin Bali is able to stay in the draft after that incident, so maybe not too damaged here. Still have all the drivers on the lead lap, but this is interesting as well. That second pack. There's Tom Wendt, the number 28 machine. That second pack led by Chuck Lovano. I think they slowed down a little bit to pick up the rest of the field. They're at about a 7-second deficit to the top 11 drivers. I'm going to be interested to see if they can work together and close that gap, because right now it's increasing. It's 7.4, 7.5 seconds. So these guys running 12th place back really need to work together if they want any hope of catching up to that top of the field. And this could also be where fuel strategy and pit stops come into play for these drivers. As right now it's still Steve Loving, Michael Gudger linked up nose to tail at the front. Right behind them there's Michael McCoy. Hard chargers so far. There's a few of them. There's a few drivers. Jay Bass, Dan Ott, Bill Keck, Stephen Shue. All are, oh no, it's going to be Abraham Kalufa, he's up 8 spots here. Up to 16th, qualified 24th, and then number 48 Toyota Tundra making some ground. So we'll keep an eye on him as this race progresses, see if he can keep that charge up towards the front with a little bit of momentum. He's tucked in behind. It shows the 84. I wonder if that's Chuck Labano. Yeah, it's Chuck Labano. Or is Abraham running the wrong paint here? Yeah, it shows 84 on the truck, 48 on live time, and I thought I was losing my mind up here in the booth. It appears Kalufa has maybe put on the wrong transponder in the truck, not accurately showing in live timing. Kind of threw me for a loop there. I was like, surely we don't have lap traffic already. As no, all 23 drivers out on track, still on the lead lap. And this lead pack extending the gap over the second, now 8.6 seconds ahead. 11 drivers in the lead pack. And 11 drivers in that second pack of drivers, but it seems like the front runners more willing to go nose to tail here, pushing that leader forward and continuing to stretch the gap. They would much rather have 11 drivers to battle at the end of this thing versus 23 with everybody dicing it out for the lead. I'm extremely hopeful we're going to see some green flag stops here at Daytona. Cheek, the number 15 machine, briefly triggered our pit road report saying somebody was coming down pit road. I wonder if he got a little bit squirrely there. Let's check a quick replay here of that number 15 machine. Does he just dip down low, I wonder? Yeah, just enough there to trigger the pit road alert up here in the broadcast booth. Now, somebody we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight, Tom Wendt, the number 28 Toyota Tundra, running 8th exactly as he qualified. But let's go back up front. Brandon Brush making moves here in the 41. That is his 5th position gain so far here tonight, as he is side by side with Steve Loving, who's guarding the inside line up high. That's Devin Jack in the 49. One of 3 Canadians out on track here tonight. That 49 Ford F-150, he's up 3 spots, holding on to the 4th place position. So far, it seems like the inside line has been able to defend a little bit more. The outside groove hasn't been getting quite formed up, I don't think, nose to tail, to make any big lunges here. It's Loving, Gudger, McCoy, 1, 2, 3, Brush and Jack round out the top 5. Now it seems to me that second pack is gaining a little bit of ground here. Now a 7.8 second gap between the 2 packs of drivers. It was up to almost 8.9. I'm gonna be very intrigued here to see if that second pack can do anything to catch up. They're going to really have to count on these top 11 drivers to get a little bit more racy and start leaning on each other if Steven Shu, running 12th, and all those behind them want a chance to get up front. We check in on Steven Shu. He's getting a push from Christopher Barker's 46 machine. A fleet of Toyotas here. Shu, Barker, Labano, Kalufa, 12th through 15th, all in the Toyotas. And the Toyota number 27 machine of Steve Loving leading the front of the pack. So Toyota starting to work together a little bit here and see if they can track anybody down. Fastest Chevrolet on track, Michael Gudger, the 64, he's in second. And the fastest Ford on the circuit, it's going to be the number 49 of Devin Jack. He's sitting 4th, up 3 positions from where he qualified. Brush looking to get some more credits here for lap led in that number 41. Keeping Steve Loving honest, who's running that inside line. Loving has Gudger linked up with him here. Giving a hearty shove up on the high side, accompanying Brandon Brush. That's Devin Jack, that 49. There's definitely some bump drafting in play as we go down the backstretch here at Daytona. Brandon Brush hops on the inside line, but we've got a caution out. Looks like it's going to be Chris Winslow in the 45. Finds himself parked off track. And let's take a look on board with our Road and Plate sponsor Chopper Cam to see what happened to Chris Winslow. Oh, let's back that one up, because that looks like it's going to be a good one. Well, let's see what happens here. Oh, a big hook. Almost looks like a lot of net code there. Trying to see who was involved in that one. Oh, I think that was Sheik. So let's see if we can get an onboard with that number 15 machine. Well, that's how the story ends. How's the story start? So we're on board with FaZe and Sheik's number 15 machine. I mean, it's tough. Winslow is definitely moving up, but it looks like Netcode kind of grabbed those two cars and pinched them together. And we are going to trigger our first caution of the night, the first caution of the season, really. As Chris Winslow, I think, is going to have to use a fast repair. Now, we're only 18 laps in. Are we going to see Brandon Brush lead the field down pit road? Or is he going to opt to stay out? If drivers come down here, they are going to have to box once more, have to come down pit road. Oh, they're hinting at it. They're hinting at it. I saw one driver stay out. That's going to be Phil Keck in the 88. Evan Hoopchak in the number 7 Ford also stays out. And while we're under caution, we've had Trenton Webb giving some shout-outs, Clay Roth. Keefro's Custom asking, where's Phil? Phil's at the front now. Phil opted to stay out with one other driver. That's Hoopchak's number 7 machine. The rest of the field is down pit road. So Keck and Hoopchak might be thinking we're going to have another caution. Cautions tend to breed cautions. And if I'm doing my broadcast math correctly, which I'm frequently not, but I feel fairly confident, that should put these drivers coming back down pit road between lap 51 and 54, depending on what the cautions are going to be here at Daytona. We're going to get the field gridded up here. Double file. It's going to be Keck and Hoopchak the front row. Gudger Loving your second row. Brush and Jack your third row. So here we go. It's going to be our first restart of the evening. 2 drivers have opted to stay out. The rest of the field came down pit road. Phil Keck, Evan Hoopchak, the front row, staying out on their original fuel, their original tires. Now, most drivers here are going to opt not to take tires, I believe. And we still have all 23 drivers who started this main event still out on track, ready to battle it out for season opener glory. I like the almost retro Taco Bell paint scheme there for Keck. The number 7 of Hoopchak running the iRacing default paint up on the high line. Pace car will be making its way down pit road. And here we go, the first restart of the evening. And we are green flag racing once more at the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. Let's see what Keck can do out front. He's going to control the inside line. Hoopchak going up high, looking for a little bit of draft support. You got Steve Loving and Michael Gudger right there in the mix. And already Hoopchak drops down low. He wants the race lead here. That's going to be his 3rd spot gain. Keck currently up 13 positions, but after that pit stop, Kalufa up 16 positions here. It's a little early to see any huge charges for the front. I think there's still plenty of time to have the big one here at Daytona. And I know of at least a couple of drivers have already used that fast repair, that get out of jail free card we talked about early on in the broadcast. Up front, it's Steve Loving. Evan Hoopchak back and back, side by side. Getting a little bit more spicy up there. Hoopchak, the number 7 Ford F-150, up 3 spots, doing a great job guarding the inside line. There's Steve Loving up on the high side. He's going to get a bit of a shove there from Devin Jacks, 49. Going to be very interesting to see how this one's going to pan out. Loving has great pace up on the high side. That could be very well due to Devin Jack being an excellent pusher there. And as we say in every NASCAR broadcast, don't push the pusher or things can get a little bit exciting as drivers are hitting speeds in excess of 190 miles an hour here on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. Now, Hoopchak, your race leader, Phil Keck, running in 2nd. We're expecting their fuel window to close around lap 34 or 35. They have yet to come down pit road. They really don't want to come down pit road with just the 2 of them. It'll be interesting to see if they can maybe get somebody to follow suit and get some draft support going on here. Because if you roll out of pit road with just you and a friend, it's a long way to get back up towards the top. Oh, John DeTalent asked us for a favor. That was easy. There's Tyler DeTalent, who just set the fastest lap of the race, a 47.89. He couldn't do that if he tried. 7.89. Tyler DeTalent, he's down 1 spot from where he qualified, that number 32 Chevrolet. But arguably the most important thing is he still has a clean truck. We talked about it early on in the show. We think some drivers are going to kind of play it safe, take it easy. I would wager DeTalent is going to be one of those drivers just staying in the draft pack, keeping with the field, and wait until the end to make those strikes. Michael Gudger showing as the race leader up on the high side. Hoopchak trying to charge back up from the inside. That's the 88 of Phil Keck tucked in right behind him. I think Keck doesn't want to be out front. I think he wants to save a little bit of fuel if he can and extend that fuel window. He's one of 2 drivers who did not come down pit road. Gudger out front. Mike Thompson with the fastest lap last time, a 47.77. So the pace is starting to increase. Drivers now hitting speeds of about 199 miles an hour. I'm going to be interested to see, will we see a driver break the 200 mile an hour mark here as they are getting a little bit squirrely up here in the lead pack. That looked like, I couldn't tell, it looked like the 41 machine of Brandon Brush might have gotten bullied a little bit. And speaking of, Jay Bass is in a tight spot here as we're 3 wide. Bass in the middle looking for an opening. Wants to get it back to 2 as they're still 3 wide. Oh, who is that in the middle as it's about to go bad? Yes, it is. And we're going to have a pile up here. That looked like it was Sheik getting squeezed in the middle, getting beat up every which way we looked at it. And that is going to be our second caution of the night. So let's have a look here. That's Sheik in the green and white, squeezed in the middle of your screen, kind of pinballing around the field here. And then it goes from bad to worse for several drivers, and we're going to scatter car parts all across the circuit. Blake Hoppy had a great front row seat. There's Dustin Bally, an alternative line. Poor the rest of the field just kind of scattering about here, looking for a clean way through. I wonder if we can get an onboard from Blake Hoppy here, and he might have a great view of the seas parting ahead of him. So we're on board with Blake Hoppy's number 31 machine. And what an excellent job here by Hoppy in the 31 machine. Sees there's carnage ahead, immediately off the gas, on the brakes, the caution comes out. And even up to this point, Hoppy being very cautious to not wad up a perfectly good race truck. That is one of those drivers that wants to stay here till the end. And that's going to put, I believe, Mark Royce, the number 44 Ford F-150, as your race leader. Now, I think we're about to see a bunch of drivers come down pit road. Hoopchak and Keck are definitely going to come down. They're going to be close on fuel to make it till the end, barring any green-white checkers, I should say. We have one of those in the back pocket, overtime conditions. But I think the rest of the drivers may come down pit road here knowing they're going to make it on fuel at this point, or at least be pretty darn close. So let's see how this one shakes down. Jay Bass opts to stay out in that number 53 machine. Bass was one of those drivers we thought was going to be really in the vortex of danger here. Glad to see he got through unscathed. Michael McCoy, Chuck Labano, Tom Wendt, and Chris Winslow also opting to stay out. So let's see. It's Bass, McCoy, Labano, Wendt, and Winslow, the only drivers to stay out here. Kalufa and Sheik are in pit road for extended time. They're on their stalls for just about a minute or longer. Sheik staying in pit road. That must have been hard damage there to the number 15 machine. Now, in theory, drivers might be able to make it till the end here without needing a second stop for fuel. It's going to be close. We get him gridded back up, double file. What could be the final caution of the night, our second restart of the inning, second caution. Now it does look like everybody was able to get back out on track that started this event. So 23 drivers that took the grid still out on track. And we go green flag racing once more. This time it's Jay Bass in the number 53 machine. Chuck Labano in the 346 running first and second. But keep an eye out. There comes Steve Loving, who has been on the gas here tonight. And there's his longtime friend and rival, Michael Gudger, the 64, also making moves. Looks like that's the 29 of Dan Ott coming through the field. Our Charger out on track. Chris Winslow is up 12 positions so far. But drivers are using some of those fast repairs a little bit early here. It's Loving, Gudger, Ott, 1, 2, 3, Royce and Bass rounding out the top 5. Now every time we have these cautions, it stacks the field back up and kind of puts these drivers right back in the vortex of danger. Now it looks like Steven Shue and Christopher Baker are having some problems. They're losing the draft off the tail end of the field here. But man, these guys are getting mighty dicey. We've crossed the halfway mark. Drivers have been displayed the cross green and white flag. As Loving and Gudger linking up nice and tight here. Let us know, fans. Do you think we're going to see another caution by the time this is all said and done? Or are we going to clean things up just a little bit? And to be fair, this has been a very clean race for these drivers. 2 cautions before the halfway mark. And I've seen a lot of these guys race before. They are known for their prowess. Now, I'm personally interested to see how the road course racing goes for some of these drivers. As the 53 machine of Jay Bass trying to work that outside line against Steve Loving. A beautifully painted Toyota as well. Loving the kind of retro 80s vibe he's got going on in that 53 machine. Looks like Bass getting ready to drop down low. He's got the 346 of Chuck Labano right behind. Looks like he was trying to carry Labano with him. We got Chase Small joining us in the broadcast. World-renowned open-wheel racer and race control pro. Always great seeing Small. So Steve Loving, for the first time in a long time, has a couple of trucks in front of him. So far, Loving, the number 27, and Gudger, the 64, I would say have been 2 of the most dominant trucks out on track. And it looks like Chris Winslow, the 45 machine, trying to get that high side line working once more. There's Phil Keck in the 88 right behind. Keck reset the fuel counter on lap 27. Now Bass, Labano, and Winslow have not come down pit road since lap 18. I show them 4, 5, maybe 6 laps short on fuel. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the strategy play is for these top 3 drivers. Now Bast and Labano definitely friends running up front. And I wonder if they're going to try and control the both lanes here and kind of stack the field up behind them. Looks like Baseline has a little bit more momentum. Dustin Bally very briefly triggered our pit road report, cutting it a little bit close there out of turn 4. So I think what's going to happen here is Bast and Winslow are going to work together, both leading their respective lines. They've got Labano and Keck not too far behind them as well. Excuse me, Winslow and Keck. And it's been about that 4th, 5th, 6th place spot where we've seen a lot of the cautions being caused so far here. A driver gets a little bit antsy, tries to shoot up the middle, and then finds themselves running out of track real estate, as we call it. John Town, he thinks we're going to have another caution by the time it's all said and done. We are 25 laps left to go, the season opener here at Daytona International Speedway, the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. We've got super speedways, we've got road courses, and a whole lot of action from some great drivers out on the track here today. Is Jay Bass, it looks like Bass and the 346 of Labano letting the field go by here. Chris Winslow stays out front though in the 45. So I wonder if Bass and Labano are looking at this situation going, you know what, somebody's about to wad up some perfectly good race trucks. I don't want to be in the mix of that. It's kind of how it looked to me there. There's the 45 of Winslow, the 88 of Keck. Hard Charger out on track, Kalufa in the 48. He's up 16 spots here tonight. Still have all 23 drivers on the lead lap. Pretty much all 23 drivers in the same draft pack. So Winslow looking good in that 45 machine. That is his 18th, 1-8 position gain so far here today. He started way at the back, started 19th. Now he is on an alternative strategy compared to the rest of the field. Keck, Loving, DeTalent, Gudger, all in the top 5, sans Chris Winslow. They all came down pit road on lap 27, 9 laps after Winslow's last pit stop. So Winslow, one of those drivers I think is going to be looking a little bit short on fuel here, especially as that 45 Chevrolet is out front pushing the air all by himself. Sometimes if you tuck in behind a driver in front, you can kind of lift a little bit in the corners and let those drivers ahead burn up a little bit more fuel. That is not an option for Chris Winslow here, as he is going to be holding the loud pedal down as long as he can. We go on board with Chris Winslow. That is what a wide open track looks like. Alternatively, we can look behind Winslow at Steve Loving's number 27 Toyota and see that it is a busy racetrack right behind that 45. Still too wide down the backstretch. Nobody's getting too rowdy here. Looks like the number 29 machine of Dan. I know that was the 28 of Tom Wendt. Was looking for an opening, couldn't quite find it, so stays committed to the high side. Now, not counting the fuel saving under caution, Winslow pit stop should be around 9 laps before the checkered flag here. I think he can stretch it out a little bit. But I almost wonder if Winslow's hoping for a late race caution and then try and make it till the end on fuel mileage. It's going to be a gutsy call if that is the case, because if this thing stays green, I'm putting Winslow at least a few laps of fuel laps short of fuel. And now you've got Phil Keck, the number 88 machine. Last time that number 88 in the Taco Bell back Chevrolet was down pit road was also lap 27. So we think he's going to be good to go till the end. Oh, and that's not going to be an issue. As we've got heartbreak at Daytona, shows Michael McCoy. Sheik, Hoppy also shown involved in that one. Was Hoppy actually involved, or was he heavy on the brakes? So we're focusing on Michael McCoy in the 33. Oh, let's back that one up. I can't tell if he got help, or if maybe he came down a little bit here. I can't quite call that one. But the number 15 machine of Sheik is absolutely obliterating the outside wall. And there's Blake Hoppy. Slow, steady, dependable. The drivers involved in that were McCoy and mostly Sheik. Showing Hoppy involved, but that's because he was hard on the binders to get slowed down. So Jonathan was right. We were going to have at least one more caution. What is Chris Winslow, your race leader, going to do here? Is he going to play it safe, come down pit road, splash up on a little bit of fuel? Or is he thinking, hey, under caution, maybe I can make this thing to the end? Not a lot of fuel saving there from Winslow. Normally I'd expect to hear drivers clutched in. Jay Bass is clutching it. So it looks like Winslow is going to come down pit road. And I think the rest of the field, Jay Bass also down pit road. So I think the rest of the field is going to stay out here unless they have damage. Chuck Labano, Sheik, Hoppy, all down pit road. So it's going to be Phil Keck, your race leader. Steve Loving running second. Tyler DeTalent third. That's a big gain for the number 32 machine. Michael Gudger running fourth. And Dan Ott will run out the top five. It's going to be about 18 laps left to go. I think it's going to be 17 laps left to go once we take the green flag after our third caution of the night. So this is going to be interesting here. I believe it's going to be 17 laps left to go when we start the caution. Or excuse me, in the caution and start the green flag. That's going to be Loving and Keck on the front row to Talent. Gudger, your second row. Ott and Went will be your third row. Miraculously, all 23 drivers still out on track here. In it to win it. So we're behind our iRacing safety car once more. So here we go. Safety car will be making its way down pit road. We'll go green with 17 laps left to go here at Daytona. Keck controls the start, and we are green flag once more. Now we are confident at this point every driver has the fuel to make it till the end of this thing. Steve Loving quickly taking over the race lead. Michael Gudger up on the high side. Keck stays down low. Here comes number 28 of Tom Went to try and lend his support to Michael Gudger in the 64 machine. You can also see the 48 of Kalufa. 48 on live timing, 84 on the truck. Don't ask me, I just call the action. As Gudger and Loving side by side. Gudger takes over the race lead, hopping in front of Loving. These two linked up can be scary, scary fast. Tom Went leading the charge up on the high side. He's got Kalufa right behind. Kalufa, our hard charger, up 19 positions so far here tonight. Gudger out front by about a tenth of a second. Loving has Went right next to him. There's Kalufa trying to lend some draft support. I believe that is going to be Laura Wiseman. And the number 84 machine also on the high side. Yes, there she is. She's up 14 spots so far tonight. Having a good run. And we look like we're going to go 3 wide. And the field says, no, 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 not quite yet. Let's calm it down just a little bit. Somebody got left out high and dry. Is that maybe Devin Jack? As there is Kalufa up into the wall. Looks like the field able to get around the wounded number 84 machine. But without that caution, Kalufa's race might be done here. Hard charger out on track, Laura Wiseman. She's up 16 positions. Kalufa was in the running, has now fallen all the way back to 23rd, so not having the race he was looking for. Gudger and Loving still linked up nose to tail. Tom Went, the number 28 machine, trying his best to get that outside line formed up. He has got Wiseman right behind him. There's the 88 of Phil Keck. Keck's been running very well here so far this evening as well. Now we got a report. Sheik did take a tow back to pit road, so effectively done and out of this one. Inside line has legs here. That's Gudger, Loving, and Keck. The outside line trying their best to get some momentum here, but and Gudger, Loving, and Keck are just absolutely blitzing, but Keck goes for something a little bit different, goes to the outside line, maybe trying to link up with Tom Went and that number 28 machine. $14 laps left to go. Still time to wad up some perfectly good trucks here. Clay Ross saying, do they shake hands after the race? Just about everybody out on track, especially the ones I've called before, super good guys and girls on and off the track here. I mean, Sometimes racers will get a little bit of red mist, and if you don't know what that means, it's when the emotions kind of take control and you can't see through the visor as well. So sometimes there's a little bit red mist and a little bit of hard feelings, but at the end of the day, we're racing virtual race trucks on virtual tracks, and there's no money at stake here. It's all for the glory and good racing. That's what these guys put first and foremost. So maybe not physically shaking hands, but good camaraderie amongst all these racers week in and week out. Who's that making a charge? I think that's Dan Ott and the number 29 Ford F-150 on the high side. Getting some support from Mark Royce in the 44. Zach Kuntz is here cheering on to Talent. The Talent up 12 spots, running just inside the top 5 here. It's going to be 12 laps left to go as we cross the line at the season opener here at Daytona. It shows Ott as the race leader when they cross the line. That number 29 Ford F-150 currently up 10 positions. Quite a few hard chargers. Looks like Blake Hoppy's starting to get some momentum here. He's up 12 positions in 8th. We saw that 31 machine. Look at him ripping the high side here, using the side draft off of Keck in the 88. Hoppy was playing it very safe in the opening laps here at Daytona. Looks like he's getting on the loud pedal, and he's going to try and make a charge towards the front. We'll keep an eye on that 31 here, as he's now tucked in behind the 88 of Keck to the left. That is the 41 of Brandon Brush, who is also a front runner early on. Looks like Brush has a little bit of damage on the left side of that truck. Hopefully that's not going to be a major contributing factor here. It's Ott and Gudger side by side up front. Loving and Royce also in the mix here. It's going to be 10 laps left to go next time by. Oh, and I see some 3-wide action. Was that Hoppy once again on the high side? Yes, Hoppy in that number 31 Chevrolet forcing the issue. He's got the 53 of Jay Bass behind him, trying to get a third line working, it looks like, or maybe just getting some clean air on the front of the 31. These trucks can overheat if you run nose to tail too long. Now we're not quite seeing those 199 mile an hour laps anymore, as it looks like drivers are kind of dancing around here, but we are 10 laps left to go in the season opener. It's Michael Gudger showing up front, but he's accompanied by Steve Loving, Dan Ott, Tyler the Talent, and Mark Royce rounding out the top 5 here. And look at the bump drafting going on there. That was Loving giving a hearty shove to Gudger in the 64. Trying to keep that number 29 of Dan Ott at bay, but Ott has Royce pushing from behind on the high side. Now, who's going to be the first driver to really force this into a 3-wide party? We've seen Hoppy kind of hint at it a few times here. Looks like the number 88 machine of Phil Keck getting briefly squeezed in the middle. Hoppy stays high. Oh, a little bit of bumping and grinding going on at almost 200 miles an hour. That is a quick way for problems to go from bad to really bad for these drivers, as we're still 3 wide. This is where it is going to get exciting. Hoppy running 3 wide on the high side, trying to see who he's behind. I think that's going to be the 32 of Tyler the Talent. The Talent also trying to get the third line moved up. The Talent hops back in, and no, Hoppy gets absolutely drilled. What just happened? Where's the caution? There we go. Not what we want to see for Hoppy in that 31 machine. I'm not quite sure who he got hooked by. But let's see. We might have backed it up a little bit prematurely here. So we're keeping an eye on the green and black up on the high side. We're waiting, we're having fun together. So there's Hoppy going to the high side. Is this where it happens? got to be close, right? So we knew that was going to happen eventually here. Oh, the number 28 hooks. I think that was Laura Wiseman. So yeah, that was Laura Wiseman getting shunted in. So keep an eye out the bottom of your screen, the white Valvoline backed Chevrolet. The number 28. Watching here. Looks like the 28 machine just catches that corner panel of Wiseman. Hoppy gets drilled there. I'm trying to see who the other driver was. I think that was the 346 machine of Chuck Labano. Yes, it was. Wiseman tries to hold on to the truck here, but nothing she could have done there. The 46 machine also getting a little bit of help. There's the number 24 of Dustin Bally taking evasive maneuvers. And we have really wadded up some race trucks here. Now, nobody took a tow down pit road. So it looks like everybody's going to be able to get back out on track here if they have that magic fast repair. I don't think this is going to put us into green-white checker conditions. So this could be the last restart of the evening. Again, I don't think this is going to put us into green-white checker conditions. I think we have enough laps to make it till the end here. And that's going to put Michael Gudger, Steve Loving in the front row, Dan Ott, Devin Jack your second row, Mark Royce and Brandon Rush your third row. Tom Wendt, Chuck Labano, Laura Wiseman, extended stays on pit road. Kalufa, Thomas, and Hoppy in and out in about 15 seconds. So I think they had the fast repair, but now that get out of jail free card has been taken off the table. Very curious to see what's going to happen here. So I think we're going to get them gridded up side by side. So that's going to put us 5 to go once we have the restart. Now, if we have another caution before the white flag comes out, we will go into green-white checker overtime conditions. If we take the white flag without incident, we will run this thing under green flag and we will finish it up nice and tidy. Now, only one green-white checker attempt available for the drivers here tonight. So if we do go into overtime and they have another incident before the white flag is out, we will unfortunately finish this thing under caution. So hopefully that will not be the case for these drivers. Now hard charger out on track is going to be Mike Thompson Jr. in the 115 machine, up 14 spots, running 8th. Looks like Sheik has unfortunately retired, so that's going to leave 22 drivers out on track here. Chuck Labano back down pit road in the 346 machine, so must have some more damage. He needs to get hammered out to try and limp this thing to the end. I think Labano is unfortunately going to miss the restart here in that Toyota as we make our way into turns 3 and 4. Pace car will be coming in this time by. Unfortunately, Labano an extended stay. He's there for 25 seconds so far, so we might be seeing the 346 machine retired from this main event. Here we go, what could be the final restart of the evening. 5 laps left to go here at Daytona. Steve Loving immediately hopping in line behind Michael Gudger. Ott, Jack, and Royce round out the top 5. We've got 21 drivers out on track out of the 23 that started this thing. And it looks like the top 3, 4, 5 might get a bit of a breakaway as the top 6 drivers have a half second on Phil Keck's number 88. But it doesn't look like they're going to be content running single file as Gudger, Loving, and Ott looked like that was Devin Jack kind of getting bullied out of the high side in that 49 machine. He falls back to 6th. Gudger and Loving stay linked up, but it looks like Dan Ott and Mark Royce working the high side. Gonna try and get something happening as they're bumping, they're grinding, and they are crashing. There goes Michael Gudger across the infield, and it is a huge pile up here at Daytona. The big one is out, and we have indeed wadded up some perfectly good race trucks. That is going to be a spectacular replay. So didn't even make it a full lap. And let's get the replay queued up. I think that was Dan Ott. So that's Ott up on the high side, the number 29. Somehow there's going to be contact between himself and Michael Gudger, 64. It looks like they both kind of come together there. Oh, and in the 44, very slightly, Mark Royce tags the back of Gudger's bumper. And that's this too many drivers trying to occupy the same spot, I believe. So they're 3 wide behind, but look at this. I think Dan Ott is going to come back into the racetrack. And this is where it's going to get bad. No amount of holding the brakes is going to help that one. There's the number 7 machine of Hubachak getting involved, and they are just going to pile it up here. Poor Laura Wiseman, she can't catch a break in the 45 machine. And the hits just keep coming. Where's Blake Hoppy in this? Look at this guy. Blake Hoppy, again, staying out of the vortex of danger. So watch Hoppy, the green and red number 31. Sees a crash ahead of him. Throws out the anchor and says, you know what, you guys have this ahead. Comes to a stop, safety signals, arm out the window, and just looks at the debris field and saying, hey, I've already used my fast repair. You guys carry on here. So this is going to be our one and only green-white checker attempt of the evening. And now it shows Brandon Brush as your race leader, Steve Loving in 2nd, Mark Royce 3rd, Devin Jack 4th, and Phil Keck 5th. The top 5 is pretty much completely changed here. So let's see how this is going to end. If we can finish this thing under green, or if we're going to have a late race caution throwing a wrench in the plans of these drivers. It's going to be Brush and Loving on the front row, Royce, Jack your 2nd row, Keck and Gudger your 3rd row. Looks like Loving's ready to get gridded up and get the party started here. Everybody else looks like they're going to be single file behind them. Curious to see, it may be a single file restart. Since we had an incident before 1 lap was completed, I'm not quite sure. It's my first time calling the action here at the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. So I'm not sure if that is going to be a rule or not. So no, repeat cautions do not trigger a single file restart here. I just checked. So we will get them gridded up double file eventually. Now, unfortunately, Evan Hoopchak has retired from this event. Chris Winslow also takes a tow back down pit road. So if I'm looking at this correctly, we've whittled it down to 17 drivers out on track. No, make it 18. Laura Wiseman's going to return in the number 84 machine. So we are officially side by side. The standing yellow, the lights go off in the pace car, so we'll fire it up this time by. There's Wiseman leaving her pit road exit, trying to catch up to the field here. It's going to be a long way to do it. Drivers pacing at about 75 miles an hour. About 70 miles an hour, right on the money. Behind our iRacing safety car. Well, let's see, can Wiseman catch up to the field here? Looks like, unfortunately, Blake Hoppy has retired from this event, the number 31 machine. There's Wiseman. Oh, she's looking mighty slow. So unfortunately, I don't think Wiseman's going to catch up to the field here. She's driving very, very wounded, the number 84 machine, just trying to salvage some points early on in the season. We make our way down the backstretch here at Daytona. At a bit of a snail's pace under eye-pacing conditions. Here we go. This is going to be the final restart of the evening. For better or worse here, the season opener at Daytona, the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. Let's see what Brush and Loving can do up front. Loving, who has been linked up with Michael Gudger, is going to see him a couple rows back in the 64. I'm going to be interested to see if those two link up here. Safety car will come down pit road for the final time. If we have a caution before the white flag is out, that is it. We will end this thing under yellow flag conditions, which nobody wants, racers or fans alike. We are green flag racing for the final time here tonight. Let's see how it's going to shake down. There's the number 49 of Devin Jack giving a push to Steve Loving. Michael Gudger also up on the high side. Looks like the 44 of Mark Royce trying to give a push to Brandon Royce, but not getting it fired up quick enough here. The outside line has legs. Here comes Steve Loving, the number 27 machine, who's been so fast in that Toyota all night long. Wants to cap off this season opener with a massive win and set the momentum. Keep an eye out on Michael Gudger as well in that 64 machine, third in line up on the high side. We've seen him and Loving work very well, and Steven Loving gets hooked, and it is going to wad up the field here for the final time. Oh, that is disappointing to see. Steven Loving, Michael Gudger, Dan Ott, Tom Wendt. And the white flag is out. And we are going to end this thing under caution. And Steve Loving is charging towards the front here. We will end this under caution here tonight. I'm showing Brandon Brush, Mark Royce, and Joy Bast, your top three. We're going to get the replay queued up here. Where does it go wrong? It looks like an unsquare hit. I believe that was going to be from Kulikov on the high side. Just ever so slightly tags that corner panel of Loving. Loving comes down, drills the number 41 machine of Brandon. But I think Brandon is going to still be the race leader as the entire field just gets demolished. But I want to... Now, I don't know what's going to happen here because right here is where the caution comes out. Technically, Steve Loving's in the lead there. So I'm not quite sure how that one works out. And we are going to end this thing under caution, the unofficial result. So Brandon Brush, Mark Royce, and Jay Bass, your top three. Michael Gudger and Steve Loving will round out the top five. And Brandon Brush going to pick up the first win of the season. And we're going to try and get these drivers up here into victory lane. And Brush is going to burn it down here at Daytona. A big win to cap things off. Now we're going to try and get these drivers up here to victory lane and get some podium interviews going on. Looks like we've got Brush. We've got Bass. And I think we're waiting on Mark Royce. And then we will get things going. So we're just waiting on Royce, and we'll be able to get the whole thing going here. So hopefully we can get Royce's attention, that number 44 machine. And then we'll be able to get these podium celebrations started, the champagne pouring, and a strict bedtime for some of our older racers here. We're going to give Royce just a few more moments. And unfortunately, if he's not able to make it, we'll get this thing started regardless. So we're going to start things off with Jay Bass, the number 53 machine. Jay, a beautiful paint scheme on that number 53 Toyota Tundra. And looked like the seas kind of parted there at the end for you.
Yeah, a little bit. Thank you so much. Shout out to Dustin for the paint. And yeah, thank you so much for everybody that showed up tonight to put on this awesome race. And yeah, wow. I just kind of closed my eyes at that green-white checker and, came out in P3. So super happy with that. I was trying to plan something with Dustin. The 24 car was starting behind me. And then I don't know, something happened in front, and then, I don't know, something happened behind, and then I just kind of, like I said, I closed my eyes and ended up in P3, so happy with that.
Absolute shenanigans. Now, Jay, it's the season opener, a new series, a bunch of drivers that some of the guys haven't raced with before, so were you expecting more cautions coming through tonight, or maybe less?
Yeah, I was definitely expecting more cautions. Everybody did a great job keeping it straight. There's a few oval veterans in this group, but, a handful of Mustang guys, handful of road guys. So, I don't know, the super speedways were going to be a bit of a coin toss, but, we ended up super clean, had a great run there. I messed up my fuel strategy just a little bit, but I had another caution come out and save me just in time. So yeah, we were able to keep the truck in a good position and bring it home for the J Bass Blast team on Twitch and Itty Bit Better and all of our sponsors here. And yeah,
And
awesome.
Jay,
I'm
speaking
so
of those
thrilled with this
sponsors
result.
and all the fans watching you on Twitch, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped you bring home third? And don't forget to plug that Twitch account as well, so our viewers on the broadcast can check you out in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have done it without Twitch chat, with engineering and keeping me sane just a little bit. So if you're interested in some POV shots, JBass Blast on Twitch is where you can find them. I want to shout out Itty Bit Better, an awesome sponsor as well, and of course Dustin Volley for putting this whole thing together and getting me my paint tonight, which looks awesome. So thank you so much, and a big thanks to all the Frito Sport guys and Ed Sancinelli for putting that team together. We had Mike Thompson, Chuck Labano, and Tom Wendt also taking part in this race and doing a great job as well. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for broadcasting as well.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, Jay. Great to see you. And for our fans over here on the YouTube side thing, we'll go ahead and drop that Twitch link in the spectator area as well. And Jay, thank you so much for the support. Great racing, and hope to have you back up here in the coming weeks, my friend.
Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Take care, Jay. That was Jay Blast bringing it home in third. Up next, we're going to have Mr. Brandon Brush, the number 41 machine. Brandon, would you rather be lucky or good out here at a super speedway?
I think there's a lot of luck involved in this. I think that was probably the 5th wreck that I had to part the seas on there. So
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like out of nowhere, you had a truck coming across the hood. I mean, you ran very well. You led some laps in the early mid part of the race, and then able to bring it home at the end. But were you thinking that you just saw the race win hopes kind of dashed at the last moment there?
I was a little bit worried, but I don't know. It seemed like sometimes the lines had a lot of momentum, and you could make up a lot of spots. Like you said before the midpoint. I mean, we were running single file trying to pull away from that second group, but I was just getting stacked up so hard. I was like, screw it, I might as well just send it out there and see what happens. And I think I passed most of the people on that first just go around, and then 49 helping me push.
Now, and that's a tough place to be at here. I mean, I talked to Jay about this, but it's a new league, a lot of drivers we maybe haven't raced with in the past, and all of a sudden you're finding new guys, new faces, elbow to elbow with you. And we saw some guys play it safe, hang way back, some guys push hard early on. But how do you make that call when you're surrounded by so many new people?
Honestly, I was pretty happy with the people that were behind me. I know they were fellow American Muscle Series guys, so I know they drive clean. So I was hoping we could work together there. It paid off there at the end. So.
Well, it seemed like it worked out well. You set the momentum. Now we have a road course next week. What's the plans? What's the thoughts going into that one? Is that something you're very comfortable with, a little apprehensive about?
I definitely felt, going into it, I felt more comfortable with the road stuff. I come from the American Muscle Series. That's where I found out about this league. So driving that Mustang around, I'm hoping the truck, you can kind of wheel that one too. I know it likes to blow the tires off coming out of the corner and wheel hop going in. So just a little bit of a learning curve on that, but I felt way better about my road driving than my plate experience. So I'm happy with this result for sure.
Well, good to have you back up here, starting the season very, very strong. And Brandon, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped bring home this massive win for you and the team?
I'll give a shout out to my dad. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday to my dad. And then Ryan Varnes. Rest in peace. Check out his foundation. It's on the side of the truck. Good charity for AMA flat track riders. So,
well, something that rings home to me as well, Brandon. I'm a big flat track guy as well, a road racer. So if you can do me a favor, send me that link in the near future. We'll be sure to blast that in the broadcast as well. And congratulations on such a massive win out here tonight.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Brandon. Take care.
Thank you.
That was Brandon Brush bringing it home, the top spot, this season opener of the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. Plate tracks and road courses just about every Thursday night. Brandon Brush with that top spot was accompanied by Mark Royce in second and Jay Bass finishing third. On behalf of the Road and Plate Stock Car Series, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for coming out, spending the season opener with us, cheering on a great group of drivers, a great league, and I dare say a pretty darn good broadcast. I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.